you pull back the books and you start looking at stuff, your profit's like 3%. It's like, dude, it's hardly anything there. Like you're just running it so close to the wire.
Welcome to Brand Talk with Rachel and Drew. I'm Drew.
I'm Rachel.
Welcome to the 100th episode, y'all. 100. We knew that this is a big milestone. This is a big deal. What do you want to discuss for the big 100?
The thing that's really on my heart to talk about is how to, like, everybody wants to make more money and everybody wants to, people want to make more money, but it's like, how do you do that? And then how do you become an actual like multimillionaire? And it's really not that difficult to do if you are focused and channeled in the right direction. And honestly, just finishing things that you started. So, I will say that you're not going to become a multimillionaire by owning one salon and doing the hairs. I can tell you that. And so that's just kind of like on my heart to talk about. I think that you've got a bunch of like, there's a lot of ambition of like where it can seem like, oh, like almost where it can look easy. It's not easy by any means, but it's not like excruciatingly hard either. It's just it just requires a lot of focus and an actual like directions to get to the destination, and instead of just kind of like floating around trying to figure it out. I would say a lot of our first couple years in business was just floating around trying to figure it out, you know, and then really looking into mentorship and people to help guide us was really the turning point to opening up like what could be.
Yeah, and then we got to a point to where we're solving problems that no one's solved thus far. Yeah. So really, a lot of the problems we saw, we're in always learning stuff. We're always in courses and studying, and I'm always watching stuff, and Rachel's always consuming stuff as well, constantly every day. But there's a lot of challenges that we had to solve internally. But I think even before we dive into that, it might be helpful to the listeners to go over like I guess this happened maybe a couple years ago. What did it look like? Can you walk them through kind of what it looked like for us? Like when we hit that, when your assets accumulate to over $1 million, like your businesses are bringing in X amount, your home, your assets, your liquid cash, all these things equate to over $1 million. That's what being a millionaire is. Liquid cash is, of course, important to go into, but can you lay that out for them when that happened for us? Like what was our businesses doing? What were we doing when that kind of happened?
I think it's important to know too that like your assets minus your liability determine your net worth. So that's important to know, because just because your salon does $1 million or whatever, which is awesome, like that's great, but that doesn't mean that you're instantly like a millionaire. So just to be clear, it's your assets minus your liabilities equal your net worth. So and also there's your PFS, which is your personal financial statement, which is going to have all that like side by side. So if you've ever like bought a house or you've tried to get approved for a loan or whatever, like you know what a PFS is, but that on one side is going to have your assets, on the other side is going to have your liabilities. And then you're going to have like that final line number of like, okay, what are you, not your business, but what are you worth? And so yes, your business can be an asset, but I think it's important to know that the gross sales of your business does not just equal, doesn't mean like, oh, my business does $1 million a year, so I just put $1 million, you know, as like, let's say the beauty lounge. I don't put you can't just put that on the line. It's like, what's the profit? And if sold, right? Like if the business was sold, what is it worth? And what is that? That then is the asset.
Value.
The value of the business, and minus liabilities, which is like, okay, well, if your business is worth X, but like you owe a couple $100,000 in a construction loan, like, are you actually like, is that business worth something? So that's important to know, because I think there's a big misconception about like what people can be worth or what your business could be sold for. And I see a lot of people that are definitely like, I've personally looked at a lot of contracts for clients that, you know, bought a salon thinking it was worth something and it like wasn't, and they actually overpaid for like this like equipment
job.
Or like hypothetical client list. But anyway, it's just important to know like your personal financial statement is going to be different, and like the value of your business, like, which we have a really awesome tool that we use to help determine values of businesses, of salons specifically, and like what multiple you could actually sell it for. But that is something that contributes to like what your net worth is. So, what I would say the turning point for us was more just like getting really serious about like not just what is the business like generating, but also like what are you keeping? What is the actual profit that is like, where are you landing? And not just like frivolously spending on things, because there's always going to be things to spend. There's always going to be reasons for, to redo the break room or invest in this or send so-and-so here. And like, we'd still do all of those things. Like we still, our salons are beautiful and they're up to date, and we send our team across, around the country to educational events, but it's all performance based, and it's all budgeted. And so that's important.
Has an intent as well.
Yeah. And also like it can't just be like, cause you want to, and you can't just like girl math your way through it. So you have to like, the turning point really is like getting clear on like, what's worth it? Like, is it worth spending money on that, and saying no to, the profit over here, you know what I mean? And also getting clear on like not playing the write-off game, and we played the write-off game. I mean,
trap.
And it's not even, and we played it legally, like you play the game because you're like, oh, it's a write-off. And it's just like this, and then it's funny in our industry, it's acceptable to laugh about that. It's acceptable to have, oh, I'm going to do this. It's a write-off. And it's like, it is, but like, if you're
still spend it,
you're still spending the money, and yes, it's a write-off maybe, but also like, is that going to keep you like in the next 2 years, if you're wanting to get approved for a business loan, you're wanting to expand, you're wanting to get approved, I mean, for anything, you need to show profit, and it's okay to show profit. You should show profit. And yes, you will pay taxes, of course, but it's important that your company is set up correctly, that you've got a great CPA,
and the profits will contribute to your asset column, if you will.
Yeah, for sure. Because that determines the business's value. If you have a $2 million salon, I've seen this. We have a client a couple years ago that we helped. She had like 3 million or something, and her profit was like 2%. And it's like, oh wow, your business is doing 3 million, like that's amazing. But you pull back the books and you start looking at stuff, and you're like, your profit's like 3%. It's like, dude, like there's hardly anything there. Like you're just running it so close to the wire. You know what I mean? And just by like getting a grip on spending and like dialing things back, even a few percentages, like, you can make such a huge difference, especially if you're talking $3 million and how that's being allocated. You can dial things.
Yeah. If you can save
4%,
if you have a $3 million salon and you can save 4% in your processing fees, that's going to be $120,000.
Yeah. I mean, it's wild, like the changes you can make. And a lot of people they'll think like, oh, well, I need to stop, I need to invest in this other brand instead, or I'm going to, use this other brand versus this one because I can save $5 per bottle. And it's like, that's not going to be the thing that's going to change everything. It's going to be the bigger chunks, right? Like your rent, being able to negotiate a better rate, being able at your renewal, obviously being able to dial in your color expenses or your allocations for color, what percentage you're spending on education, what percentages you're spending on rent, things like that. But, more sales is obviously always the answer as well. But, with more sales comes more overhead, more payroll, more people, et cetera. So just making sure that you guys are like really thinking about what is the end goal, and like, what are we doing today that's going to get us to that end goal, and just keeping your eye on the prize. It's so important because, if you're just breaking even year after year after year, it's like, cool. Okay. Someday, one day you're either going to close your salon or it's going to be, sold for a multiple. You decide, and that's no one else's, that's nobody else's decision other than yours as to like what you have at the end of that yellow brick road, like, and your, it's important to think about the end in mind too, like your succession plan. Like what's the plan? Are we renewing? Are we going to sell? Are we going to, pass the baton, in a percentage kind of way to like another person in the business that's like excited and younger and like wants to keep it moving, you know, and you mentor that person. You know, that's kind of like our goal and our plan for our salons is to be able to, you know, have a partner that we can raise up, you know, in the business. And we've been able to already do that with one of our locations. But, you know, it's you got to think about that, you know, and it really helps you get more clear, I think, on your goal and what you're even wanting. What the hell are you doing it for, you know? So I think multi-millionaire, right? Now that's going to come from multiple income streams. And so we want to share with you guys some of the multiple income streams that you can do inside your own salon walls. Like, you don't need to go like do something new necessarily or somewhere new. Like, do it under your existing roof.
Yeah. A huge thing that changed the game for us. And this is why we're so passionate about doing what we're doing, is when product started to move at a rapid rate. That changed our life. You know, when you have, and it's why we're always chatting about launching brands and building brands, and that's our contribution to the salon owner, the best way that we know how, that we've seen. Like, yes, we'll dial in menus. Yes, we'll dial in the phraseology and the context that the stylist used to turn a haircut into an enhanced look, or, you know, things like that. That's great, and that's definitely a part of it. But when you can take a product that is you, and you're moving it inside of your ecosystem, and then you also are able to expand this product into the digital space. Maybe that's what happened for us when we were a physical brick and mortar and we were a digital company.
And e-com. Yeah,
and then we added e-com. So we have brick and mortar, we have digital services, and e-com that is product.
Yeah.
When those things like triangulated, like bam, like things got really big and things went to another level. But running the one location back in 2020, like, you could do well, like, you'll be fine, you know, you'll be comfortable, way above average.
Yeah,
we
were super comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, could
probably
do
less
whatever we
challenges, more freedom. Having a salon doing $2.5 million, you know, you get the car you want, you know, for the most part, and go where you want for the most part, you know. But it wasn't a multi-millionaire kind of thing.
No, not personally speaking. I mean, the business, yes, multi-million dollar business, but what you actually net and like what ends up landing on the PFS for yourself, you're not gonna be able to do that unless you were to cash out and sell at a really high multiple, which, you know, we don't own our buildings. I wish, but you know, we're in really super nice shopping centers that are, you know, retail storefront, glass storefront, that kind of thing, like really great location. And for us, like in the locations we have, that was the location was more important, and for the foot traffic and the visibility and the brand awareness and that kind of stuff. And just where we live, like, to own a building, you know, which is something we love to do. And there's other cities we can expand into to do that. But in the communities that we're in, it's just, there's literally nothing. It's a monopoly.
Locked down.
Yeah, for sure.
Howard Hughes.
Yeah. Thanks, Howard.
Thanks, Howard. Your legacy is thriving.
Well, actually, that was the Woodlands is bought by, Howard Hughes. But yeah, it's the multiple income streams is really interesting, because a lot of salon owners think that, you know, okay, and ourselves included, you know, okay, like, we got something good here. Like, we're doing $2.5 million in this location. You know, all of our chairs are filled. Like, the only other thing to do is to do another location, right? And so that's what we did. And obviously, you know, with supply chain and everything at that time, you know, in 2019, 2020, when that decision was made, not knowing, okay, everything's inflation, and now you can't get, you know, AC units, and now you're paying more for AC units than you should. And you also hire a shit architect, and, you know, before you know it, you're at $500,000-600,000 on your build out, like we were. And you got to get open, right? Because you've got a impeding date that's coming, and you have to be able to be open. And so you just do what you got to do to get open, like we did. Well, we aggressively paid down that construction loan, completely had our construction loan paid off in under 2 years, which was amazing that we were able to do that. But, you know, then you've got now 2 locations and 2 sets of overhead and 2 electrical bills and all that kind of stuff. And then you have your existing management team, or you hire another manager now, so it's more to do, and you can do that. Like, and we've done that, and that the lessons learned for sure. Definitely harder than you think it is going into it. It's not a copy paste, despite having incredible systems and this and that. It's like, it still requires its own, like, it requires some refining. It requires its own attention.
Has its own spirit, so you can't, like, I'm going to do
amazing.
two. I'm just going to do what I'm doing and do it twice. It's another kid to get going, full attention, totally different.
Yeah. I mean,
but they look similar.
They're not like identical, but they're like, they're obviously sisters. So, but that's been, definitely a great learning lesson to be able to have multiple locations and be able to experience that and be able to say, hey, like, thinking back there, like, were we maxed out on space? Yes. Were we maxed out on team? Yes. But like, could we have squeezed more out of that orange? I think so. You know what I mean? And I see a lot of salon owners that are like just barely juicing their salon and then thinking like, oh, well, 10 stylists equals 10 chairs. And beyond that, I got to go do something else. You don't. Like, there's the other income streams that might actually be a better fit. You know what I mean? Depending on like what your availability is inside of your business. If you're still the talent of your business, you're still, managing things, you're still leading education, training people, stuff like that. And that's honestly the most powerful, most amazing place for you to be, is in that training mentorship role until your company is multiple 7 figures. And then like start, I would say after the first 7 figures, then start launching those different income streams. But like there is no reason like for a salon with 5-6 chairs, like to take, 10 years, 15 years, who the hell knows how long to hit the $1 million mark. It's very, very simple to do. And Drew breaks down that math all the time. You just had a great post on that on your Instagram from the Balmain event that you taught at. But use your salon as a launch pad. Like, you don't have to take on more overhead. You don't have to take on more people. You don't have to take on anything. And like your brand, right? Your brand or your course or your education or whatever it might be, like that thing is not going to like call in sick or, its day is going to fall apart or whatever like happens, like all the variables that happen like with a stylist. Okay. Love stylists, but like, there's a human component to it, and that's going to be the thing that is going to make or break the scalability of that salon, because that salon scalability is based off that chair and who's operating that chair on that day and who was booked on that day and whether we allowed that person to cancel or call out or whatever. I mean, it's just, there's so many variables. The more chairs you have, the more variables you have.
Yeah, and you'll do more business, but there's more problems to solve by doing more business, And one of the things that we're very meticulous about is the allocation of money. So when the money comes in, it doesn't just go into the black hole operations or the checking account. Like your checking account is a black hole and your operational checking account is a black hole. Everything that goes in that sucker is going to get spent down to zero. And it's okay. It's fine. That's what it's for. But you got to get the money moved into other tax-free investment environments. We could talk to you all day about that, and we do events on this, but we're very, very on point, and that's what gives me a lot of peace of mind, because I know we're doing that. I know we're working hard, but I know we're moving money, funding these policies. We're looking for investments. We're always moving money. I'm always looking to do something. Rachel's always looking. We're looking at like land right now. So purchasing an asset is going to go up. So our home is on 3 acres. A home is a liability when you get it because it's very costly. But if you got $1 million home and then you can ride that equity over time, you're gonna have $1 million asset, eventually, right? But you can do this with land. So we're parking money in certain things to have time on our side as it goes. We're in our 30s, so by the time we're like in our 50s, that's 20 years from now. 15, 20 years from now. That's going to be, those assets are going to accumulate to a large amount. Like our home grew, or what did our first house from when we bought it to what it sold for? What's that spread?
You're almost 40.
I'm almost 40.
My friend. Actually, you're almost 39.
Yeah.
Next week
My
or the following.
My last 30s.
I actually was filling out the calendar the other day because, you know, during the summer, I like to have this calendar that we just like put on the wall just so like the kids are like every day, like, what camp do I have or this or that? I'm like, it's on the wall. Like, go look at the wall. So during the summer months, we have that there. And then also for our babysitter to know what's up. But I was like, I was fulfilling it. And I'm like, you're turning 38, right? And he's like, no, I'm turning 39. I was like, oh shit. So, but anyways, the thing about, you know, what Drew's saying is, you know, you have to, when you're moving money and you're doing all of these different things, you know, like we chunk extra money towards our house, like, and our camper and like anything we got, like we chunk extra thousands towards the principal. So that's important. What he's talking about is the whole buckets of money and that kind of thing. Like what he's talking about is like more on like the personal side. On the business side, you still have to reallocate that money and shove that into different accounts and not just the operational account. Because if you're just like you said, like popping everything, looks like you're flicking off the camera, if I do say so myself.
I'm not.
It looks like, I feel like I'm getting the bird over here. Is how your hand was sitting. But like, that's the thing is like, if you have all your hair money dumping into the salon checking, you've got all your team's, you know, service income, retail income, you know, rents coming in and out of there, or not, you know, well, depending if you're a rental salon owner or whatever. And then you've got, you know, all your bills and stuff, like, and I can't tell you how many salon owners I meet that don't even have a credit card, don't even have an American Express. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
Afraid of debt.
They're afraid. Well, it's not even, maybe they're afraid of debt, but they don't trust themselves with the card. And I'm like, okay, well, an American Express is great because you have to pay that sucker off every single month. And your spending power is based on, you know, how you're interacting and using the card. So like all of that stuff, like that's all, it's like a whole system. And like we teach this like inside of our communities and things like that, of like how we have our account set up, how do we have the banking, the checking, you know, how many checking accounts per company. And you guys would be absolutely shocked if you knew how many bank accounts we have. I mean, well over 70 accounts. Mm-hmm. And, but like having that methodical routine movement of money is important. And, I think that's where a lot of people don't have that visibility, you know? And I think about like, vision, for example. Like I wear contacts, Drew wears contacts, like, oh yeah, like Drew's glasses. Drew pays extra for his glasses to be grinded down
special to lenses. So
very
they don't,
special.
Don't look ridiculous.
Like Coke bottles. But like that would be like insane. Like for you to even attempt to even make it down the driveway with no contacts or glasses. I mean, you would 1000% smash into the gate. Mm-hmm. And I would have a hard time getting down the street. You know what I mean? And it's like the visibility that you get when you move money around and you have organization and that kind of stuff.
You do it.
You have to do it because no one else, like you own the business. Nobody else is going to do it for you. Your manager is not going to sit there and like, okay, I'm going to go move this money there. Like I don't let my managers my bank account. They can go make deposits, but they're not going to sit there and also the visibility that you give your people. Like it doesn't tell the full picture. So, you know, we've certainly made mistakes as business owners and allowed people to have visibility into accounts and things that shouldn't have, or maybe people we trusted and it can look one way and it's like, no, dude, like it might have that in it today, but tomorrow after payroll, it's going to have half that in it, you know? So
like forecasting is a huge part of what we do. And we do weekly cash pro formas with our team weekly. And
even personal. We do that personally.
Yeah, we look at everything. And it's like not terribly exciting having weekly cash pro formas forecast. Your CPA is not going to do this for you.
No.
And then even a CFO is like, you're going to have to work with this. Our CFO is amazing, but we still will on the meeting lay out like what we need done and how we need it done. And like we are very clear on where we're going and what's needed to get the job done and where the direction that we don't want to go. Mm-hmm. We don't have people telling us that. We have people telling us, hey, look around this corner. Don't forget about this. Okay. And then we take that into our processing power. And then we articulate that on the meetings with our team to lay the game plan out to get everyone on the same page. But it's Rachel and I. It's not an external source that's coming in and telling us how to move our money. Like we have to be responsible for that. And we have to be good stewards of our of our money and how it moves and how to grow it and where to put it and where not to put it. But also live a little, have some fun, but don't be silly, So that is something we do every single week. And that's been a big thing because a lot of times people don't do their numbers, but once a month, maybe. So they're making decisions 12 times a year on their allocation of their money. And that's not, we make over
52 money moves
52
minimum per entity.
Per entity. And we have many.
Yeah.
Right. So
11.
there's a lot, we are constantly discussing money. And that is something that has helped us because you can't grow what you don't measure. And a lot of people don't pay attention to these types of things on their percentage of margin or, how much are we allocating to marketing this month? Is that acceptable? Is that good? What's the performance of the marketing? Where's that money going? What does that look like down the pipeline? But you also got to have the ability to have tools to see all that stuff. So it's really just vigilance. It's like pulling a microscope. You got to go macro. You got to look at the big number, like on the pro forma, like that's the macro. And then we go micro on each little bit and we zoom back out and we zoom in. And then that's where we make our decisions in the business or personally on what we're doing.
Yeah. Because you can try on numbers on a cash flow pro forma, like a week by week thing like we do. And we have everything is like, it's a multi-tab spreadsheet and then everything pulls in together, like also so you can see how everything affects everything too, if needed, for cash purposes. But like you to be able to try on just like you would try on clothes, or shoes, like, does it fit? Does it not? Is this a good week to do this transaction or does this need to be put off for another 4 or 5 weeks? You know what I'm saying? And is this a priority? So you can really try that on. And also we heavily lean on forecasts as far as a salon is concerned with Boulevard. And you guys know we love Boulevard. We'll put a link in the description for you guys if you're interested in doing a demo with them. But we love Boulevard because we can do a forecast by day, a forecast by week, by stylist. We can see exactly from now through the end of the year, what's the value of Tony's appointments from now through the end of the year? What's the value of Caitlin's appointments now through the end of the year? And that's important for you to share with your stylist too, for them to be able to see like, oh shit, like I'm not like I don't like that number. Like, you know what I mean? Or I love that number. Like it's most of the time it's the first one, it really helps them get clear of like what their daily actions need to be to get, where they're constantly, again, it's kind of like it's like a cash flow pro forma
It
sort of.
It is. If I was a stylist, I would run that macro too. I would look at the
every
year
day.
And then I would look at the day or the next couple of days or the next 72 hours. Like what is going on today, tomorrow, and the next day. And then I will have my correspondences and I'll have I'll talk to people and make sure my calendar is populated and making sure I'm sending the invitations or delivering value to clients that haven't been in a while. And like that communication, like the first thing that a stylist can be doing to make money is obviously doing a service, of course. The second best thing that they could be doing is communicating with stylists, following up, rebooking. Hey, I was just thinking about you, wanted to offer you a treatment or this or that, or just inviting people back in, hadn't seen you in a little while. Like at my barber, I need to go to the barber. If he texted me today, like, hey dude, gotcha, I got a 4:30 open, you want it? I would probably like, yeah, I need to come in.
Come on, Edgar.
But let's go, bro. But like, but I just kind of go in like when I'm, needing a haircut. So like I'll go
Scruffy?
tough, I'll go a little scruffy, and then I'll do my best. And like I could manage at home, but he just does a better job. So that is one thing that a few things that people overlooking, but it's the same game.
So yeah, so the micro actions is, okay, maybe you're like, okay, well cool, they have a cash flow pro forma, that's a Google sheet, and they're doing this and they have like all these bank accounts and whatever, and then they have Boulevard that they're looking at the cash flow or the appointment forecast, right? That's the micro stuff. The point is we're measuring numbers every single week, right? And as far as like the how, which we're always going to share with you guys, the what, the why, the how is obviously Boulevard. We're using that software. We're clicking on reports. We're scrolling down to insights. We're looking at client frequency of visit report. And we are running that report for the following week. We're not, yes, we are still tracking it day by day or every few days, but we're still like ahead of next week. Is next week, rainbows and sunshine, or is there a damn hurricane? You know what I mean? And that's the stuff that because salon owners are so caught up in the day-to-day weeds, the shit, right? You're just like doing all the little things and you're being busy and you're doing the hairs and you're dealing with problems and you're listening to everyone's bullshit, or you're comparing yourself to other people or whatever it might be, or you're stressing about stuff. You're not thinking ahead most times, and your ability to think ahead is your freaking superpower. That is what's going to change your business. That's what's going to get you easily to the $1 million mark and beyond. Your ability to think ahead about creating your brand, about what promotions you're going to run for next month or the following, your ability to think about offering education, offering courses, doing shadow days. Like, you have all of these different things, like being able to think ahead and plan your year and your life and your income streams is super, super important. And we do this, we do it in November, December. Every year we'll plan the whole next year, even date nights and everything, and we're not perfect at executing it, but at least there's a plan in place. And then we can, shift some things around if events pop up or whatever.
Yeah. The goal when you're running numbers and planning and doing things is not perfection. It's progress. So progress is progress. And that's the goal of every time you get out of bed and you're going to work is progress.
Yeah.
No one is trying to elicit or can elicit perfection. So it's important to know that too, because sometimes, like Rach says, it does get a little messy, and that's okay. It's life, So
dude, business is messy.
It is messy. So, and then you shepherd that thing, and then you clean it up, and then you progress forward, and then it might fall apart again. It will fall apart again as you grow. If you grow, it's going to get rough. If you don't grow, it's going to get rough. So it's like,
pick your rough.
Yeah. So you got to get organized, just getting these processes out in. That's why you hear people talk about process so much in business, systems and processes. It's because it helps you have a mechanism to deal with the undulation of working with humans, So that is a bit about what it takes to
build multiple income streams.
Yeah.
But the first thing is definitely going to be getting organized and getting intentional about what you're doing.
Like, let's tie it back for them. Like, how will this go into them becoming a multimillionaire? Like, how does these principles, what we're teaching, like we're talking about the principles that will be able to help you become a multimillionaire. But can you talk about like how that connects into having the multiple income streams, and then we have these principles, and like how that will get them to that level if they choose to go that route?
The first thing is get organized. Manage your time. Stop giving your time away to people who are wasting your fucking time. Like, fire people that need to be fired, mentor people that need to be mentored, stay on top of your emails. I can't tell you how many times I've had people share their screen and they have like thousands of emails. I'm like, just start over.
Just delete it.
Just start over. Get organized. Put your phone away. Stop consuming content more than you're creating content. And get up early. I get up early every morning. Like this morning I woke up a little too early. But I get up early before everybody else, and Drew's morning routine, my morning routine are very different. Drew doesn't want to do any work. He wants to drink water and put some salt under his tongue and go hop in a cold plunge and go sit in the sun and all that stuff. Like, I'll go sit in the sun. That's a new thing I've been doing. But
we actually just talked about that in the last episode.
I actually put some salt under my tongue this morning. Yeah, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening.
Electrolytes, guys, just get the minerals in first thing.
So our morning routines are different, but I do I do my verse of the day. I actually deep dive whatever, where it's coming from, because I feel like if you just read one verse, like, you don't really get the full picture of where that is in the Bible and everything. So I go through that, spend some time there, and then I dive into base camp. I go into just whatever I needed to go into, and I jumpstart the day. And so then I feel good about putting my phone away, right? When kids start waking up around, 6:45, 7 or whatever, I'm dealing with that. I'm getting ready or I'm doing my thing. And I've already gotten an hour and a half or so in of work and I've responded to all of my messages. If you guys are in our Salon in our club, in the morning, I'm just like, bam, 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 going through my messages. We're doing responses inside of the community chat, things like that. And then, but getting organized. So for me, and that's my preference, I like to get up and get after it. I am extremely energetic in the morning. I've got a lot of energy. My my brain's on fire. I'm excited to get after it. You know, I'm not like sleepy or anything.
You're excited about what you're doing.
I love what I do. Yeah. Yeah, totally. And I like doing that. And I feel like I can I immediately start the day like making a difference. And then from there, obviously I can go be a mom and that kind of stuff. And I know, okay, I don't have all these tabs open in my brain. I've already done all this stuff. So getting organized, staying on top of your emails, like establishing like a routine. Fucking get up. Like, just don't sit here and just like, I don't sleep in. I literally can't. It's painful.
Yeah, I think the latest we get up is 7:30.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe 8 on a Sunday.
If we sleep in like hard, like let's be crazy. Let's watch a movie and sleep in like it's 8.
Yeah,
on a Sunday.
But like, you know, and we don't drink. I mean, I'm obviously knocked up right now, but we don't drink. And that's something that. At all. That's something that we just don't do, and it just doesn't like help anything. It doesn't make things better. It doesn't contribute to us getting further ahead in life. So that's our preference too. I see a lot of, especially in the industry, I see a lot of people who like to get, you know, go out and get throwed with their team and all that. People still use that word. I feel like I use that.
I think that's back. Showing your age there a little bit.
Whatever.
Mid 30s now.
Do you know what that word means, Brooks? Throwed. Oh, wow. Okay.
See?
Well, most of our audience is our age. So, trashed. I don't know. Lit. What? I don't know. Whatever.
Stop.
Okay.
Stop.
Throwed. Yeah. Wow. Look it up. It's a vintage
get with the
word.
program.
Yeah, get with the times, Brooks. So, you know, like I see a lot of that in the industry. You go out, you go to hair shows, you get trash. You know, you're sleeping in late. You're showing up hungover to classes. You're not setting a good example for your team. It's just fucking gross.
You're gonna get smoked by the person.
Oh
that's
my
not
gosh!
doing it. Absolutely smoked by the one focused.
1,000%, like disrespected, friend zoned, like. Good luck coming back from that with your team. I've been there, done it all. Okay.
Well, we talked. It's funny you're talking about this. This is pretty similar to what we talked about on the previous episode.
Oh, really?
Not this exactly, but it was like my take on it, and this is kind of your take. Like
yeah.
I talked about how our morning's different, but we also talked about how we incorporate a spiritual component to it. Mm-hmm. Like yours is different than mine. Mm-hmm. Not one's better than the other. It's just whatever works for you. Yeah. Even like me and Rachel don't do our morning routine side by side. You know, so but the important thing too is to take note of the behavior of which I'm always paying attention to, like successful people or people I want to learn from. Like, what's their behavior? Like, what are they doing with their time? What are they not doing with their time? Is really important stuff. And you can really easily see the people who are not at this upper level, how they utilize their time, what they do with it. And then not that one's good, bad, right, or wrong. It's like just which one is going to serve you in your goals and which one is probably not going to serve you in your goals.
Yeah. It's kind of like you're, I don't know. It's like you just, I don't know, you just have to boss up and do what you need to do. Like, and you know, if you've been in business 5 years, you know, you're still doing the same schedule, seeing the same people, charging the same price, you know, you're wondering why stylists won't stay more than a year or two.
Because they're probably having to compete with you.
Yeah. Time to do something different. Like, I would say that would be a fair assumption. Time to do something different. And by different, I mean something completely like not what you're currently doing. Yeah. And maybe hiring a mentor or listening to these episodes. We have so much free stuff for you guys to consume. My gosh. We don't make a single cent from this podcast. This is all not a nickel, not a penny. You know, we have people that ask us all the time, like, can we sponsor? Can we do that? You know, it's like, I don't want to sit here and press pause on what we're getting into here and be like, did you know that you could save when you switch to Geico?
If it makes sense, though. If it makes sense.
I don't know. I mean, maybe, but I just want.
Watch me just cut to a sponsorship right now. Brooks, hit it.
No, I brought to you by Waterloo. Oh my God. No, and Boulevard didn't tell us to say that shit either. I just wanted to tell you guys because we use it. We love it. And we have a discount code for you if you want. Cool. If you don't want, that's also fine.
And Boulevard, if you want to sponsor an episode, let me know.
If you want to keep squaring it, then do that. And good luck trying to figure out your numbers.
That'd be rough.
But I'm just saying, like, you know, you're going to have to do things differently. You're going to have to show up differently. You're going to have to think differently about your thinking. And that is called metacognition, which is interesting. You guys should definitely deep dive that.
You're so proud of yourself right now.
No, I know exactly what that word means.
It's cute.
But that is like, you have to think differently, period. You have to behave differently. Back to what Drew was saying, I don't know, he did a post a couple months back, like be, do, have. Like in the Bible, it talks about that. You have to be different, do things differently, to have things, have certain things, you know, and it's important that you guys do that. And the people that do are the people that rise to the top. And it really is not I'm going to say it's not difficult. It is difficult to be successful. It is not hard to be successful. Like your advantage, your ability just to like not quit, like just if you do that, just that one thing, like not quitting, not throwing in the towel, not swiping when you feel uncomfortable or skipping to the next episode or the next lesson or closing the book or whatever, that alone right there, you will have a competitive advantage over anybody in your area. 1,000%.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are like, oh, aren't you like, because we sell hair at our salons to local stylists and other salons, and we've trained other salons in our area in hair extensions. And then people are like, we're training somebody right now. Like somebody actually used to work for, we're actually helping.
Right around the corner.
Literally right around the corner. Helping.
Don't care. Love him.
Yeah. Great guy.
Yeah.
I used to work for him and everything. And, you know, and they're like, you know, somebody was like, aren't you afraid that like they're going to do this and do that? I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like the business is totally different. Different vibe, different brand, different
The goal is not to do
and
everyone's hair in your town. The goal is to get some customers that you love that are willing to pay what you're looking to pay and build a profitable company that you can enjoy working together and you can build a team around.
I actually referred a couple people last week over to their salon as they were like, oh, my son wants to do like this shaggy long cut thing. I'm like, oh, you should totally go see Troy. He's amazing at men's cuts.
Yeah.
Like we don't do that. You know what I mean? And we could do it, I guess, but like, do we want to? No. Is that like, would the client be more comfortable over there? For sure. It's not pink and girly and all the things, you know, but it's like, stop worrying about what other people are doing and put your head down and get your shit done. You know what I mean? And I can tell you when you're doing that, like, it doesn't matter what's around you. It doesn't matter what obstacles, you know, are thrown your way or what flies are buzzing around you. Like, you just don't care. Like,
well, you just don't have time. You don't have time to look at the competition to see what they're doing or how much they're doing or what's care. Like, not being rude or mean about it, but it doesn't matter, you know, because we're 20 steps ahead of what we're doing today in our world, and we're competitive amongst ourselves and our ability to perform at the best, the absolute top level that we were put here to do. Yeah,
and our like, a lot of people are like, so what drives you? I'm like, myself, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of baked in.
I'm about to punch UPS in the face if they don't drop this damn package off. I've been
well, let's go check on that
for 2 days now. Anyways, but wanted to deep dive this today. Like, it's the 100th episode. Obviously, we wanted to go deep. We wanted to talk about multiple income streams. We wanted to give you a little bit of insight into like our brain, what he thinks, how he operates, how I operate, how we operate together. And then just like we want to challenge you guys to really step up and start behaving differently, doing things differently. And if you're wanting to join the Salon Owner Club, we're going to put a link in the description. Join the club, dude. Like, if you're a salon owner, join the club. If you're not a salon owner, please don't join the club. You know, but it's important that you have a community of people. If you are wanting to level up, you're wanting to step into this role of CEO, you're wanting to grow and be a part of something that is very different and very just your place. Like, you feel like you're the odd one out in your area, or you're, you know, there's no one else that wants to grow, or you feel like you're the biggest fish in your fishbowl. Like, click the link, join. It's completely free. We obviously have other programs and things that you can be a part of if that's something you desire to do. But like, be connected to something bigger than yourself. It's extremely important for you to be able to just have a community and a place that is conducive for you to grow. So we'll leave you guys with that. Thank you so much for listening and for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.